Are you feeling priced out of Yu-Gi-Oh? Are you tired of every deck that you want to play costing
Oh my
over
god,
$100
no.
for both
Hell
the
no,
main and
hell
the
no.
extra
I'm
deck?
not invited to
Well,
this.
I have a solution to you. Here I have 6 different budget decks all around the price point of $100 or less, some a little bit above around 110. But these decks are going to be quite powerful. We'll be able to compete against Rogue and sometimes top tier contenders. Here are the 6 best budget decks for this upcoming format. Before the video starts, however, about 83% of you guys are not subscribed. Subscribing, clicking that like button, and commenting all help me out a lot in doing what I really want to do. Thank you guys so much for all your support. What is going on, guys? Rogue TCG here bringing you this budget deck. We are going over 6 of them total in this video. This is going to be the first one. This is our first budget deck, being Earth Machines. I did cover this deck just a little bit ago on my channel, but this is going to be a budget version of the deck. There are some cuts, and this is for TCG. I'm not going to be including the side decks when referring the prices of this deck. So when referring to this price, it's going to be the $64 and then the $37 right there. So it's just going to be these two totals added up together. So here is going to be Earth Machine. It's going to be very similar to the previous Earth Machine profile. Probably one of the more expensive cards in this profile is going to be Clockwork Knight. Joel Lockbird is also quite pricey, as well as Regulus, carrying about a $5 price tag. Then we do also have Zeus, which isn't especially the cheapest card right now. But other than that, most of the cards are going to be quite cheap. Some of our non-engine, like Skill Drain, might also be carrying a bunch of that value. The main goal of this deck is to basically get Harvester into rotation, which is a 1-card full combo to draw 2 cards of non-engine. Plus get all your Earth Machine stuff going, so you'll have a Harvester back in hand at end of turn to do it all over again. So let's go down the card by card and just talk about the list. We're gonna be doing this one by level. So first we have Machina Citadel. Must be normal. Can't be normal summon or set. Must be special summon by a card effect. Quick effect: you can target a machine monster you control, destroy that machine monster, and all monsters your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to it. If a face-up Earth machine monster you control, except for Citadel, is destroyed by battle or card effect, while this card's in your grave, you can special summon this card. You can only use each effect to Citadel once per turn. Citadel is a very powerful card. We can bring it out with Machina Overdrive. Its graveyard effect is also quite powerful, functionally a last resort option when it's in your graveyard and kind of being insurance. Next, we are on 1 Super Expressive Bullet Train. This is one of the cards we want to end our turn with this card in our graveyard. Can't declare an attack unless you send 2 other cards you control to the graveyard. Never going to be attacking with this guy. If all monsters you control are Earth, minimum 1, special summon this card from your hand. That's why we're playing it. It's a free level 10 extender. That's Earth Machine. And during the end phase of this card's in your grave, because it was sent there this turn, you can target 1 machine monster in your grave except Bullet Train and add it to your hand. Here's how we add that Harvester back at the end of the turn. We use Bullet Train, we target that Harvester because we made sure to keep that in graveyard. We can add it back to our hand for that 1-card combo next turn. Next, we're on 1 Derek Rate. If an Earth Machine is normal or special summon, except for during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if it's detached from any Xyz material, it just pops a card on field. Very powerful. I'm going to start going through these a little bit more quickly. We're on Therion King Regulus. You can special summon this card from your hand by targeting a Therion or machine monster in your grave and equipping it to this card and special summoning it. And when your opponent activates a card effect, quick effect, you can send out a Therion monster from your hand or face up field to the grave, negate that effect, and Therion equipped with this card gets summoned under attack. And then you can activate the second effect. However, what's really going to be happening more times than not is we're just going to have Regulus on field. We're going to target a random Earth Machine monster in our graveyard and just put it on there for a negate. That's more of the times when it's going to be. Regulus can also be an early way to prevent Nibiru. It can prevent Droll and Lockbird before we activate something to add something to hand potentially. Like if we go normal summon Scrap Recycler, send a card, go Regulus attach. Now we're Droll proof essentially. So there's that. It's also an extender just to get an extra body on board, which is quite nice. Now for our Infinitrax, we're on 1 Tunneler. You contribute an Earth Machine, special summon this card from your hand in defense, and then you can banish this card from your grave, target 5 Earth Machines in your grave, shuffle them to deck, and then draw 2. A necessary part of our end board, Tunneler lets us draw 2 non-engine potentially at the end of the turn, which is very powerful, as well as resetting our entire extra deck, just putting it all back. We're on 1 Road Roller. If an Earth Machine is tributed or banished face up, you can special summon this card from your grave or your hand. Once per turn, next sees monster's original type is machine and has this card as a material, gets its attack Effect, face-up monsters your opponent controls are changed to defense position, and also they lose 1000 defense, which is quite good for removing problematic board states. Road Roller is also quite good because you can special summon it from your graveyard after you've already used the effect of Infinitrack Tunneler to extend just a little bit more at the end of turn, but it really depends on what your hand is looking like. Run 1 Brutal Dozer, contribute an Earth Machine, special summon this card from your hand to defense. If this card is special summoned from your hand, you can special summon 1 Infinitrack monster from your deck in defense position, except for Brutal Dozer, but negates effects, and you can't special summon for the rest of the turn except for Earth Machines. This is the one true lock in the deck that locks us into Earth Machines specifically. So if we did want to make Zeus, we would have to forego the Brutal Dozer the turn that we make the Zeus, unfortunately. We're on 1 Trencher. This is the card that allows us to use Scrap Recycler as a combo starter. Scrap Recycler plus 1 Extender gets us to full combo as well. So this allows us to tribute an Earth Machine, special summon this card from our hand in defense, and then we can banish it from our graveyard to target a level 5 or lower Infinitrack in our grave, except for Trencher, and special summon it in defense, and you can use this from each effective Trencher once per turn. How this works is we go Recycler, send Harvester, use any extender to go into Ancient Gear Ballista. Ancient Gear Ballista, add Ancient Gear Box, our next card, and then Box. We're going to go over it real quick. If it's added from deck or grave to hand, except by drawing it, you can add 1 Earth Machine with 500 attack and or defense from your deck to your hand, except for Box. Then that's a hard once per turn. However, if we go Recycler plus any extender into Ballista, Ballista search Box, Box search Trencher, then we can tribute this Ballista, special summon Trencher, go Trencher into Goliath, and then use Graveyard Effect of Trencher to bring back the Harvester that we sent there in order to get a search. We're on a triple Scrap Recycler. If it's normal or special, you can send a machine from your deck to the grave, and then you can shuffle some machines back and draw a card potentially, which isn't the worst thing in the world. However, most of the time we're not really focusing on that part of the effect. We're mostly focusing on the play starting aspect. And then lastly, for our monsters, we're on the best card in the deck, Triple Infinitrack Harvester. If this card's no more special, you can add an Infinitrack monster from your deck to your hand except for itself. You target 1 other machine monster, and you can modulate the levels of both this card and the card you targeted to the combined levels of both. So what that means is if we have, let's say for example, you have a Trencher and then a Harvester, we can target the Trencher with the Harvester and make both the Trencher and the Harvester the combined levels of both, being a level 7. Or you can target, for example, we can target a level 8, being Therion King Regulus, and then we can make them both 10s in order to go into a rank 10 like that, which is quite interesting. Next, for our spells and traps, we're on Triple Foolish Burial Goods, just being able to send a spell or trap to the grave. To send Clockwork Knight, when it's in our grave, we can discard a card, add 1 Earth Machine from our deck to our hand. Being able to add Harvester is very powerful. We're on 1 Call by the Grave to stop hand traps, 1 Forbidden Chalice as non-engine, 2 Droplets as non-engine, 2 Urgent Schedule. Our third one is in our side deck because we don't want to play all 3 in the main because it's way better going second than going first. Triple Heavy Forward because it's a 1 card Infinitrack Harvester, which is full combo. 1 Machina Overdrive because it's a non-engine card we'd like to draw into. Triple Skill Drain, another really powerful non-engine card we'd like to see. Triple Skullmeister and Triple Drill Lockbird. I believe these are the 2 best hand traps that are generic in this format, and I think every deck that can run these 2 should be running these 2. Next, for our extra deck, we're on a Triple Goliath just to recycle stuff, Triple Anger Knuckle to make sure we always have it in rotation, 1 Ballista, 1 Wyvern, 1 Infinitrack River Stormer. This is a level rank 5 Xyz, allowing us to add an Earth Machine from deck to hand. This is typically how we're going to be adding our Bullet Train. 1 Mountain Smasher, being able to break boards really powerfully. 1 Rail Cannon, being able to win us game in time. 1 Super Door in order to protect our big bunkuses. 1 Libe for an OTK, and then 2 Zeus because they're machines, and machine be good. A lot of our really powerful extra tools are really priced out. Like we have SP Little Knight priced out. We have Typhon priced out. There's quite a few cards that we would like to play, but we can't really. But this deck still can put a formidable fight. SP Little Knight was never necessary in the deck since it isn't an Earth or a machine. It just means that we can stay more focused in the game plan of our deck instead of focusing on more generic stuff. So yeah, here's deck number 1. Here's Earth Machine. Deck number 2, here we have Branded Predaplant. We have Branded Predaplant here for budget deck number 2. Everything, including main, extra, and side, is just $88. Nice and cheap. The side is also pretty expensive, just being at $15 because it's 3 super polys. However, We do need to play Super Poly instead of the other branded tools because Albion, the Sanctifier Dragon, which is the main way people play branded now, is quite expensive. Let's see what we put in the side deck, how much that'll change. See, it's about $25 right there. That's about 26 really. Just to get a gimmick puppet lock online, I don't think it's necessarily worth it. Another engine we were kind of locked out of is Dragoon. However, I'm not sure if branded Predaplant really cares about that. Like, we're branded Predaplant. We're not just branded, we're branded Predaplant. So we have a lot lower price ceiling. I do believe there is another branded deck on the list. We'll see the large comparison from that to this. Let's first sort this deck real quick. All right, now that that has all been sorted out, let's go down the list one by one and talk about each of the cards. First off, we're on Triple Chlamydia Sundew. Monster with Predator counters that you use as fusion materials are treated as dark. During your main phase, you can fusion summon one dark fusion monster from your extra deck using this card as material, and monsters from your hand, field, and/or monsters with Predator counters your opponent controls as fusion material. You're going to use Chlamydia Sundew once per turn. This is functionally Super Poly on legs, so we can get Predator counters on our opponent's cards. There is a nice, clean one-card combo, or two-card combo, which is quite nice. I mean, I'm not necessarily showing you. I will be linking it. If you look at the top right, you should see a little card there for a branded Predaplant list that should go over that combo. I also do have a YouTube short. I'm going to be pinning that right here, where it goes over the basic two-card combo. Yeah, but Sundew is very powerful. Poly on legs is very strong. Next, we're on Triple Bislip. If this card is sent to the grave, you can add a Predaplant monster from your deck to your hand, except for Bislip. If a monster with Predator counters on the field, you can special summon this card from your grave, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use each effective Bislip once per turn. This card's incredible, being an extender that can bring itself back from grave. It can add a card when it's sent to the grave, and it's one of the best cards in the deck to basically send with our Predaplanting, which is really powerful. Just this card being able to add Predaplants and being able to be used as fusion material and go net neutral because it adds a different Predaplant is incredibly strong. Next, for my favorite Predaplants, we got Frog and we got Mantis. I'm going to go over these because these are pendulums, so I'm going to go over them pretty quickly. On its pendulum effect, it lets you fusion summon monsters from your hand or your field, I believe. And if this card's sent to the graveyard or added to your face-up extra deck because it was used as a fusion material, you can add a face-up dark pendulum monster except for himself from your pendulum zone to your hand. Or not pendulum zone, your extra deck face-up area where the pendulums go to your hand. Just keep in mind it can't add itself. And then Mantis has the pendulum effect where you can use cards in your pendulum zones as fusion materials. And then if this card's sent to the grave or added to your face-up extra deck because it was used as a fusion material, you can choose monsters on the field up to the number of monsters you control and place Predator counters on those cards. And if you do, any of those monsters that are level 2 or higher become level 1, but that's just an aspect of the Predator counters. So how the Predator counters work is any monster that has a Predator counter on it has its level, if it has one, changed to level 1, which is quite powerful and can just shut down certain strategies like Sword Soul and such. So this deck does have a really good Sword Soul matchup. But how this works is you go Frog, Fuse using Frog and Mantis, and then you can summon their fusion that needs 2 materials and their starter. I'm going to go over it in just a moment. Then you can go Frog, add the Mantis back to hand, and Mantis put 1 or more counters on your opponent's field in order to get those counters for the Sundew or for other effects. We are on 2 Orphis Scorpio. If it's normal or special, you can send 1 monster from your hand to the grave, special summon 1 Predaplant monster from your deck except for itself. We can get this out of our deck with our fusion monster. However, we do want to have potentially be able to open it because this is a really good normal summon, but we don't want to run 3 of it since the main cards it grabs is going to be Cobra and then Sundew. All the other ones don't do anything when grabbed. So we have a pretty limited amount of these Predaplants that we actually do want to be fetching from our deck. So we don't necessarily need to be playing more than 2 of the Scorpio because it's so searchable. Next, we're on 1 Hydra. Most lists don't be playing this. This is a kaiju from the graveyard. If a monster has a Predator counter on it, you can just tribute it and special summon this guy from your graveyard or from your hand. It also does have a beneficial effect in order to banish Predaplants from your graveyard, I believe, to lower the attack of a face-up card on the field permanently. So this card isn't all that bad. One of the best things is that we can send it to the graveyard for a fusion material, or we can just send it to the graveyard If we already have a way to send Bioslip, we can send to the grave via Preda Planning. If we have Preda Planning already and we need to add a card to hand, we can add this card from our deck to our hand just to be able to have follow-up. If they have any cards with Predator counters on it, we can just tribute it and special summon this guy. Next, we're on 1 Darlingtonia Cobra. If it's special summoned by the effect of a Predaplant monster, you can add 1 Poly or a spell card, or a Poly spell card, or a Fusion spell card from your deck to your hand. Really, really strong, making Frog plus Mantis be able to access the branded engine, which is not supposed to be able to happen, but, you know, Darlingtonia Cobra is a different beast altogether. Just being able to grab you any fusion card. It used to be really, really powerful, but it's still really strong now. And then our honorary Predaplant, Stay Sailor Romarine. Quick effect, you can target one face-up monster you control, send another plant monster you control to the grave. Next time it'd be destroyed by a battle or card effect. It's not. When his card's sent to the grave by a card effect, you can send 1 level 5 or lower plant from your deck or extra deck from your to the graveyard. Really powerful. It's a light monster that translates into a dark monster, which means we can make Albion and not feel too bad about it with our branded fusion. Next, we're on 2 Aluber, Jester of Despia. We don't really want to be normal summoning it. We only want to summon it off of branded opening. But if we do open it, we want to be able to summon it off branded opening potentially. So we are just playing the 2. 2 Albaz. If we open it, again, we want to be able to use the one that's not in hand to fuse. So we're playing 2. Triple Branded Fusion in order to fuse using stuff from deck. Triple Preda Practice, special summoning a Predaplant monster from your hand and adding a Predap card from your deck to your hand except for Preda Practice. And then for the rest of the turn, after this card resolves, you can't special summon monsters of extra deck except for fusions. So this does hard lock us, not just the branded stuff. The Predaplant stuff also locks us. So that's why they work so well together. Triple branded opening, I can pitch our Bioslip or our Hydra or whatever we want to get into graveyard in order to grab our Aluber, in order to grab branded fusion so we don't have to search it, which is really strong. 1 branded banishment, just an additional card that we could potentially search with our Aluber. We also can grab this very frequently off of our Albion during our end phase, since we don't really care about branded and red as much. Just being able to get a super poly from graveyard is much better. So yeah. And then 1 Preda Planning. This card is cracked. Send 1 Predaplant monster from your deck to the graveyard. That is cost. Place 1 Predator counter on each face-up monster on the field. And if you do, any of those monsters at level 2 or higher become level 1 Predator counter stuff. If you fusion summon a Dark Monster while this card's in your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can banish this card from your grave, target a card on field, destroy it. You can use each effective Preda Planning once per turn. You can use both effects in the same turn if wanted. It puts a Predator counter on everything, which is really insane with Sundew. And given some of our extra cards, this card can just straight up end the game instantly, which is really, really strong. Next, for our non-engine, we are on 1 Called By. This is technically engine instant fusions, 1 card full combo. Foolish Burial can send our Bioslip, which is really strong, which is basically Rhoda for any of our Predaplants. And then for our hand traps, we're on double Imperm, triple Droll. Now for our extra. On our extra, let me just sort this real quick. Alrighty, now that that's all sorted. For our extra, for our Predaplants, we're on the best Predaplant, Predaplant Ambient Melodies. We need 2 Predaplants, so it is really focused on the Predaplant aspect. If this card's fusion summon, you can add a Predaplant monster or Predap spell trap from your deck to your hand, or graveyard to hand, or face up extra deck to hand. So it adds from anywhere to hand except for banishment. And we can add Preda Planning, we can add Preda Practice, we can add any Predaplant card. So this card is really, really open. You can target 1 monster your opponent controls with a Predator counter, or 1 monster you control, tribute it, and if you do, special summon a Predaplant monster from your deck. That's it. That's the end of the sentence. Predaplant from deck, and then you can only use each effective Ambient Melodies once per turn. Being able to tribute your opponent's monsters in order to special summon your Predaplants out of the deck is insane. We don't really get to do it too frequently because typically we've either already won the game by that point, or we're on the way to winning the game, so we don't really need to be doing that. And also, we do have to do some math on one of these cards coming up. But Ambient Melodies is crazy, and we have to play 2 of it. We can summon it off of Instant Fusion because it's a level 5, so we don't have to put any resources into it, which is crazy. Next, we are on double Dragos Tapelia. 1 Fusion monster and a Dark monster. Once per turn, quick effect, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, place 1 Predator counter on it if it's level, and then a level thing. This has the continuous effect where negate the activated effects of your opponent's monsters that have Predator counters. So this turns your Preda Planning into negate the face-up effect, negate all face-up monsters your opponent controls, negate their activated effects. Crazy. Insane card. But what's even more insane is the next card. 1 Triver Tum. It needs 3 darks from the field, so you can't use, for example, you can't make this using. Actually, you can make this with pretty much everything. Okay. So it needs 3 dark monsters on the field. It gains attack equal to the total original attack of all other monsters on the field. The Predator counter. You can only use each of the effective Predator Plant Trivertum once per turn. When your opponent special summons a monster from their extra deck while you control this fusion summon monster, quick effect negate the summon, and if you do, destroy that monster. And then it also has another effect, hidden effect. If your opponent controls a monster with a Predator counter, you can special summon this card from your graveyard in defense position. Really, really strong effect. Again, both effects are once per turn. Solemn Warning, crazy effect. Solemn Warning, and negates the summon, so they don't even get that card. And then the second effect, just being able to come back, crazy. But the best thing is this is the way we instantly kill our opponent into the sun. If we can manage to go Preda Planning with this on board, this card is become gigantic, and we just swing over whatever's in attack position, and we just kill them on the spot. Real simple. And then for our last Predator Plant extra deck monster, we are on 1 Fusion Dragon. Once per turn, when a card effect is activated, quick effect tribute a monster on the field with the Predator counter. Not just yours. If you do negate the activation, if this monster on the field with Predator, if this fusion summon card you control is sent to the grave by an opponent's card, you can target 1 dark monster in your grave, special summon it. You can only use each effective Predator Power Fusion Dragon once per turn. Can target itself. It's a dark monster. You can target itself and it just brings itself back. It's a negate by tributing your opponent's monsters. Really powerful stuff. Now onto our branded stuff. We're on 1 Alba Letnus, just potential funny bit, and also it adds a fusion, branded fusion. Lubellion, we're all basically all darks, and recycling our materials are really strong, so we're playing 2 of it. 2 Albion, we're always making this turn 1 with Romarine plus Albaz, and then Romarine can send a buy slip, which is quite nice. And also searches our branded banishment. We don't really want to banish our Albion for its effect, by the way. We want to banish previously established Ambula Melodies that's in the graveyard. So we can keep our Albion, use the Albion as fusion material with our Sundew in order to make a Dragostapelia or a Trivertum, and then get the Albion effect in graveyard at end of turn. Mirror Jade, of course, we're obviously going to be trying to end on this really, really strong card. We have Garura and then Mud Dragon. We could theoretically make these cards just in our own deck. However, they're more in here for Super Poly. So that's going to be it for this secondary deck. Now on to the third deck. I know. You guys don't want to see any more branded. This is going to be the last branded on the list, so let's just go over this one pretty quick. This is Branded Despia Fusion Pile. A lot of these cards are just related to fusion summoning. Not too much non-engine space in this deck, to be honest. Only card that I might consider cutting would be like a Poly for like another hand trap. But also this is, again, these are rogue decks. These are not meta decks, but they can compete is what I'm trying to say. They can compete with the meta, but they're not meta decks. Don't expect to get like an unbelievable win record, but also you can get an unbelievable win record. It just depends on how you play. So this is Branded Despia. So let's go down the card by card. Let's start with our Despias. We're on Triple Allure, being able to add a branded spell trap on normal or special. We're on Double Tragedy. When sent to the graveyard or banished, you can add a Despia monster from deck to hand. And then if it's in your graveyard, except the turn it was, if you haven't activated its graveyard effect when it's sent there, you can activate this effect. Or you can banish it from your graveyard to add a branded spell trap from your graveyard to your hand. Of course, you can't activate both effects in the same turn, or else it'll just trigger itself, which would be really funny. We are on 1 Dramaturge of Despia. If Fusion Synchro Xyz or Link monster special summon during the damage step. Except during the damage step, you can target 1 effect monster in the field and negates effects until the end of the turn. If this card in your hand or field is used as fusion material and sent to the graveyard or banished, you can special summon this card. You can only use the effect of Dramaturge once per turn. It's a free body that keeps on coming back, and it negates when your opponent summons stuff from the extra deck, which is quite nice. We're on 1 Ad Libitum of Despia. When this card is sent to the graveyard or banished as fusion material, you get to target a Despia or a fusion monster in your banishment or in your graveyard and special summon it. Really good at bringing back those Mirror Jades, which is quite nice after they're already used, so you can just use them again. That's it for our Despias. Now on to our branded stuff. We're on Triple Fallen of Albaz, 1 Albion the Shrouded Dragon, just being able to cycle our branded Retribution into our graveyard and functioning as Albaz on field and in the grave. We are on Double Cartesian of the Virtuous, just being able to summon Gragogonal and be able to send Albion or something to extend our plays is just really, really strong. We're on Double Edge of Chain because we are running our Fight for Patrick engine, so it's just Eh. We're on 1 Mercurier in order to negate stuff. It's searchable off of Branded Lost. 1 Bestial Saronir, which is just a good card to send to the graveyard in order to send a Retribution again. For our hand traps, we are on Triple Droll and Lockbird and 1 Effect Failure. However, please play with the ratios however much you want. Non-engine typically is whatever you really feel like it. And then for our spells and traps, we're on Triple Branded Fusion. Let's move it. Triple Branded Fusion, best card in the deck. Triple Fusion Deployment, second best card in the deck. Being able to summon Albaz or Cartesia straight from our deck is super strong. Poly, which is searchable off of our Patchwork. 1 Branded in red. Triple Branded Fusion, 1 called by the grave. Branded in red, being able to target an Albaz or a Despia in your grave, add it back to your hand, and then banish cards from your hand or field in order to fusion summon monsters. Really strong, especially paired with our Ad Libitum or our Dramaturge. And then we have our 1 Branded Lost, being able to add any card that mentions Fallen of Albaz. We can add our Albion. We can add our Mercurier. We can add our Albaz. So we have a couple cards we are able to add. We can add our Blazing Cartesia, which is quite nice. And Cartesia can actually special summon itself in this deck, which is also really nice. We have our Branded Retribution, which you can banish it from our graveyard in order to add back a branded spell trap that's in our graveyard. Same as Tragedy, except we're typically going to be able to activate it the turn we send it. So we can add back that Branded Fusion we used turn 1 in order to keep using it turn after turn. Then, of course, we are on Triple Draw and 1 Veiler. Now for our extra deck. Let me just sort this real quick. For our Albaz fusions, we're on double Lubellion, double Albion. Lubellion being able to shuffle back into our deck cards that are banished in grave or on field, and Albion being able to banish cards that are on field, in hand or in grave, which is quite nice. We're on 1 Albaletinus, typically just to send it to the graveyard. However, it works really good against Dragon decks. 1 Rinbrum, since we are able to make it off of our Mercurier. 1 Brigand, because we can send this to the graveyard to be able to add Mercurier in end phase. Double Mirror Jade, and then for our non-Albaz fusions, for our Despias, we are on 1 Masquerade and 1 Queridas. For our Cartesia, we're on 1 Graguganol. For our Branded in red or our Poly, we're on 1 Guardian Chimera, which is probably the most expensive individual card in the deck. And then for our non-engine stuff, we're on 1 Muddragon and 1 Dragostapelia as just generic extenders. In our side deck, we have potential side deck cards in Branded Banishment and Blazing Branded King. 1 Albion Sanctifier and Giving Puppet, like I mentioned earlier. However, if we do take it down, you can see the whole overall price tag go from 115, 114. So again, like I said, around the 110, 115 range. So, yep, this is going to be this list. Now on to deck number 4. Here is deck number 4. Some of you guys might recognize it off the bat. This is Orcus Cartesia. I did manage to find a way to make it budget. Typically, one of the best parts of the deck is that you can play Typhon. You can play Access Code. You can kind of play whatever you want in the extra deck for the most part, as long as you have like the baseline stuff being double Galatea, at least an IP Masquerade, Link Karibo, Long Girsu, some sort of extra deck end boss, 2 Dingirsus, and Cartesia. We do need double Graguganol and Sprint, which is a lot where the price comes from. Comes from these Graguganals in the Sprint. Like, let's look over here. $14.28, right there. We have $28 out of our $114 total. So yeah, a lot of our price also does come from our side deck cards. Or not our side deck, our hand traps. Each Phantasma is about 3. Our Druis Worm is a big, hefty price total of like about 10 right there. So a lot of our hand traps do take a lot of that price, but that is due to our engine being so small in our main deck. Like, look how much non-engine. We literally have 20 non-engine cards in our deck. Isn't that insane? Technically, we have 21 because Jizzy Cure is non-engine. But all of these cards in our non-engines, quote-unquote, do function as a part of our engine because they can all be used either as fusion material for Cartesia or to search Cartesia, which is quite nice. So I'm going to really, really quickly go over this list. I have a million Orcus videos, definitely going to pin one in the upper right-hand corner here. But we have Triple Girsu being able to send Orcus or World Legacy from deck to grave and making a token on both players' field, level 1. Double Nightmare being able to send a Dark Machine from deck to grave. All these following effects, if we use our graveyard effect, they do Dark Lock us, so we got to keep that in mind. So we're on Double Nightmare, we can send this to the graveyard off of Graguganol, and is our main play starter. Double Orcust Symbol Skeleton, being able to bring back an Orcust from our graveyard. Again, dark locking us. Harp Horror, recently unbanned. The main card we're going to be sending to the graveyard off of our first Nightmare. Being able to summon our Girsu or any Orcust straight from our deck is really powerful. World Wand, one of the most underutilized cards in the Orcust toolbox, allows us to bring back our banished Orcust, which is quite strong. One Brass Bombard, one of our better play starters, letting us play around hand traps, and even if we get hand trapped on our Girsu, allowing us to end on a Galatea and a Crescendo, at least ending on an interaction. Speaking of Galatea, Crescendo, and all of our spell and traps, we're on one Babel, allowing our Orcust to be quick effects, one Orchestrated Return in order to cycle our Orcust for cards, and one Orchestrated Return being one of the best counter traps in the game, negating the activation and banishing the card, and then in graveyard being able to banish itself and then search for a Dark Machine, but locking us into summoning Dark Machines for that turn. So that's going to be it for our Orcusts. Now for our Cartesia, we're on triple Cartesia, triple Brandon High Spirits. That's it for Cartesia. One Foolish Burial, triple Book of Moon to help our Girsu and our Cartesia dodge Effect Veiler. One Called by the Grave in order to stop hand traps. Double Forbidden Droplet because it's really strong in this deck. And then for our non-engines, I'm just keep on messing up our non-engine list now, don't I? We're on one Jizzy Cure, really strong against Snake Eye. We just throw this on the Anblo Whale, they kind of fold a little bit. Double Phantasme, really strong in this meta, I think. Double Skullmeister, also really strong in this meta. Triple Effect Veiler, kind of necessary for this deck because it's a light spellcaster, being able to search Cartesia and being able to fuse into Guggenol. Triple Droll Lockbird, being, again, as a spellcaster, we can search Cartesia with it. Also really, really good in this format. And then for Bestials, we're on one Magnemite, one Druiswar, and one Baldrake. Magnemite also being able to search Fantastical Dragon Phantasme at end phase. Now for our extra, we're on one Linkuriboh, double IP Masquerena for longevity, double Galatea, double Unicorn, again to make sure we always have ways to interact with our opponents in a spinning or an SP Little Knight-like effect. One Long Girsu, a really powerful card. One Borlo Dragon, really well posed against Snake Eye, not being able to target with monster effects specifically, and that's all they really do. And then also stealing cards at the start of the damage step, which is quite nice. One Borlosaur Dragon for OTKs, double Dingirsu, one of the best cards in the deck. One Spring the Iron Dash Dragon, a card that we can send off Brandon High Spirits, revealing any machine. And then Greg Guggenol, we're running two, so we can reveal any spellcaster or search Cartesia, so we need to have a second one just in case for our turn one combo. Unfortunately, since we are playing more cheap, we can't afford the Despian Lulu Lilith, which is typically what we play. See, it's about $17. What it would replace would probably be either Borosword or Borolo Dragon, so just keep that in mind. But that's going to be it for this fourth deck. Now on to the fifth deck, and then right after is going to be the final one. Now for our fifth deck, we are on Flu. Let me just sort this real quick. Alright, now that we are all sorted out, here is Flu. Yeah, it's a little bit boring, but it is still a really powerful deck. I'm very surprised we managed to jam almost $50 worth of value in the extra deck. Most definitely you don't have to do that. But I did manage to still reach under that budget price guide. So let's just go over the card by card. Again, going to speed through these. I do have another profile on Flu, very similar deck list. It's going to be the upper right-hand corner again, so you can take a look at that. But this is the budget version of the deck, but it'll play very, very similarly to that version. We are on triple Rabina, being able to add a low-level bird on normal summon and then immediately normal summoning. Eaglin adding a high-level bird and then immediately normal summoning. Stree banishing a card from graveyard and immediately normal summoning. And then Toucan adding a banished card from your banishment to your hand and then immediately normal summoning. M-Pen adds a spell or trap, then immediately normal normal summons. And then it also has a floodgate on it where opponents can't activate the effects of special summon monsters they control that are in attack position, which is quite powerful against link-related strategies. Especially the Snake Eye negates SP, negates Promethean Princess, pretty decent. Doesn't negate the graveyard effects, however, but there are other ways we can prevent graveyards entirely. We're going to hit that really soon. One Ryza in order to stack our opponent's deck and basically brick them to high heaven. One Apex Avian so we can search a negate. Triple Dimensional Shifter, probably one of the best decks in the game right now that can play Triple Dimensional Shifter because we don't care about it. All of our birds banish themselves when they leave the field anyway and add themselves back from banishment to hand, which is quite nice. So Triple Shifter is crazy in this deck, really good against the current meta. However, they can still end on an Appaloosa under Shifter, so you need Shifter plus like a board breaker or like a triple tactics talents in the hand in order to beat Snake Eye, I think. Triple prosperity in order to dig for the cards that we really want. We were playing a pros board just for that reason. One terraforming in order to search for our map, which is quite a good extender. Double talents for the Appaloosa situation that I did previously speak about. One call by the grave. Triple add that to adventure, being able to dodge certain hand traps and basically extend. Cavalry, same thing, dodge certain hand traps, extend. Double dimensional fissure in the main. It's better going first than going second, so we are just siding the other one. Basically, this is an anti-meta deck where we want to basically floodgate our opponents out as quickly as possible and just overrun them with advantage with our birds. So 2 in the main, and then we're also playing triple macrocosmos, so I don't have to cover it later. I already mentioned the map. We're playing 3 of it. Dreaming Town allows us to normal summon on our opponent's turn, then we can banish it from our graveyard to Book of Moon our opponent's full board, which is quite nice. And then Featherstorm is we have a wind-winged beast monster. Negate any monster effect your opponent activates until end of turn. Super strong effect, basically being able to like floodgate your opponent's entire turn. We're again siding on the 3rd copy from when we know we're going to be going first. But yeah, that was Flu real quick. It's Flu. Let's go over the extra deck real quick too. We're on double Anima. We have a lot of level 1s and potentially we could make it. 1 Link Karibo, again level 1s. Cerberus, Phoenix, Unicorn. We could make them. They're good utility. Double Underworld Goddess. This is probably where a lot of our value comes from. You see how when we take it out, each is about like $10. So take it out, put it down to 80. Real nice. I like playing at least 1 Underworld Goddess in most prosperity builds just because it can help you out really problematic boss monsters. Like, I don't think this deck really has a clean out to be adding Mr. Boss Monster. I don't think there's any out in the deck for that, so Underworld Goddess is in there for that. We're on triple Recital Starling because we could theoretically make it even search our birds since all the small ones are level 1s. Assembled Nightingale to be able to go to Zeus potentially, again, all level 1s. Little Fucko, all level 1s. And then Lionheart because I thought it was funny and it's a cheap card. So yeah, that's Flu. Now onto our final deck of the day. If you thought we were going to improve from Flu, you are sorely mistaken. Here is $100 Trap Tricks main deck, extra deck, and full side deck for $100. Dirt cheap Trap Tricks. And I believe this deck is actually quite good. I don't know if it's like the best of the best, but it is a deck that can definitely hold its own, and it's a unique little spin on the deck. So here we are, we have Triple Mermello being able to, on normal summon, adding a hole, and on special summoning, mandatory activation to pop a card or to pop a spell trap your opponent controls. Even if they don't have one, it triggers, so it triggers your Sarah, which is quite nice. We're on Triple Mantis on normal, being able to add a Trap Tricks monster from deck to hand, and a quick effect being able to set a spell trap, target a set spell trap, bounce it to your hand, and then set one from hand, which is quite nice. Being able to reset a lot of the traps at, like, for example, banish at end of turn, which is quite nice. We are on 2 Pudica, unaffected by the effects of whole trap cards. Not going to mention that really for the rest of this. When it's normal summon, add a Trap Tricks Garden from your deck to your hand, which is their field spell. And if it's special summon, you can target a special summon monster your opponent controls and banish it until the next standby phase. Except during the next standby phase, they can choose to special summon it, which can trigger your trap hold. So it's not like returning it like a Mech Knight would. You're special summoning it, so you can even go trap hole on that one too, which is quite nice. So we're playing 2 of it just so we can potentially, like, you know, get that Farfa-like effect twice out throughout the game. We are on double Arachnocampa, unaffected by whole traps. I said I wasn't going to say it, and I said it anyway. First time each set card in your spell trap card would be destroyed by a card effect. It is not destroyed, which is really nice. We want to try and end on this on board as much as possible if we're not making it a rank 4. During the main phase, if you control Trap Tricks, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can't special summon for the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except for insects or plants. You can only use effective Arachnocampa once per turn. The thing is, we can search this off of Mantis and get a free rank 4. We can search it off of Mantis and then go Mantis, or go this into Sarah in order to just keep extending. We can go set a card, Mantis, bounce back a card, Sarah, trigger, set another card. So there's a lot we can actually really do. Was tempted to play 3 of it, but we do have a secondary engine in here, so we decide against it. We're on 1 Dynam. We can search it with our Mantis. We can, you know, there's a lot of ways we can get to this. And on normal summon, it'll target a Trap Tricks in your grave, special summon it in defense. And then when it's special, you can target a normal hold trap in your grave, set it, but banish it during the end phase. Like I mentioned, this is what we can bounce back to our hand with Mantis in order to not have to banish it and maintain resource advantage. And then lastly, we're on one of the green one, unaffected by hold traps. Again, third time I said I was not going to say it, and I just said it anyway. You can use each of the following effects of it once per turn. Only once that turn, you can send one set trap card you control, special summon it from your hand. If you control no cards in your spell trap zones, you can banish it from your grave, target a hold normal trap in your grave, and send it to your field. Good for rebuilding your board. Good for extending by sending traps you don't really want, or you can reset from your graveyard to your from your battlefield to the graveyard. I mean. So yeah, this we can get extra advantage off of this and make more rank 4s. We're on one garden that we can search with our Putika. During each of your main phase, you can normal summon one Trap Tricks in addition to your normal summoner set. First time that each insect or plant monster you control will be destroyed by battle its turn, it's not. You can banish one card you control, special summon one Trap Tricks monster from your hand or grave. You can use each effective garden once per turn. This is an incredible extender. However, we're not really extension heavy, we're more of a control deck. So we're just playing the one garden if we do open Putika so we can keep extending further. That's the one case where we would want to keep extending because Putika is one of the only ones that doesn't grab us an extender from deck purely. It grabs us garden, which we need an extra monster to be able to extend with it. Next, we're on Triple Holtea, one of the best cards to open. You can activate this card the turn it was set by discarding one normal trap. Special summon this card in defense position as a normal monster, plant, earth, level 4, attack 400, defense 2400. It's not treated as a trap. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Trap Tricks monster in your grave, special summon it. You can use each effective Holtea once per turn and only once per turn. This card is cracked. Special summoning itself on turn 1, triggering your Sarah. Special summoning a monster from your graveyard, getting that special summon effect off of, like, I don't know, that Dianea, being able to set a card and then bounce it. Being able to pop a card for Melio, being able to banish a card with our Putika. Just really, really good toolbox efficiency, I guess. Now we're on Triple Gravedigger Trap Hole. I think this is the best trap hole they have, to be honest. Everyone's activating effects from their hand and from their grave, so that's like the best effects to stop. And it's not even a once per turn, so if you open multiple, like let's say you open all 3 or you search for 1, you can burn your opponent for 6k, just dome them, which is crazy. We're on Double Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare. If your opponent special summons a monster this turn, target one monster, your opponent controls a 2000 or more attack, destroy it, and then if you have a whole normal trap in your grave, banish a monster from your opponent's grave. You only activate Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare once per turn. Being able to banish, like for example, a Promethean Princess from your opponent's graveyard on summon of Amblo Whale is really nice. As well as getting rid of that Amblo Whale. And then, yeah, we can banish anything from any graveyard as long as we have a hole trap in our grave, which we most likely would because of Holtea, which is really powerful. We're on one Trap Hole Nightmare. Just it's a little bit more specific, but it's just a card that we can search with our Sarah or with our Mello. We are on one Time Space Trap Hole, being able to bounce a different type of interaction, being able to bounce extra deck monsters, which is quite nice. It's really good against Pendulum decks, funny enough. We are on one Floodgate Trap Hole, being able to like flip us down a Snake Eye Ash is just game winning, I think, because they can't even use the effect on field to get the Flamberge, which is crazy. And then for our secondary engine, we are playing Dogmatica. We are one card, it's a one card engine to get to a Sarah, and it's the same like mental idea as Invoked, where as long as you can get an extra deck monster on the field, Dogmatica is completely free. As long as the deck doesn't need too much extra deck space, it's completely free because you just send cards from your extra deck to get so much more advantage. And since we're getting trap-based advantage off of Punishment and extra deck-based advantage off of Garura, Intis, Graguganol, you know, we had so much advantage off this engine. We're on one Ecclesia and one Maximus for monsters. Ecclesia being able to special summon itself from your hand for free if you have a Sarah on field, and then being able to search either our Maximus or being able to search our Punishment is just incredibly strong. We're on triple Nadir Servant in order to find our Ecclesia. Nadir Servant after we made Sarah or made our board is still really strong. We can send Garura to draw a card and then add Ecclesia, since Ecclesia has 1500 attack and Garura also has 1500 attack. So we can get double advantage off of that. Just being able to get natural card advantage is also incredibly strong. Then we are on double Punishment. Target one face-up monster you put in control. Send one monster with equal or higher attack from your extra deck to the grave. And if you destroy that monster until end of next turn, you can't special summon a monster from your extra deck. A little bit of a hefty downside, unfortunately, However, as long as we can maintain one Sarah on field at all points, we don't necessarily need to special summon from our extra deck the turn after Beast Punishment. It is more of just a way to make sure we lock down the game. Just being able to, again, draw these extra cards is crucial. And then lastly, for our non-engine, we're on triple Skullmeister, triple Imperm, double Tactics, and a Called By. For our extra deck, we're on triple Sarab. If a trap card's activated, we can special summon a Trap Tricks from our deck. If the Trap Tricks effect is activated, you can set a whole trap card from your deck. So basically, no matter what's activating, as long as you're activating something in archetype, or even just a trap card, you are getting so much advantage special summoning a Trap Tricks and then immediately activating its on summon effect to set a trap card. Just every trap card is a +2 as long as Sarah's on field, which is crazy. We are on one Kulera, just being able to reset our whole trap cards is really strong, and being able to special summon Trap Tricks from our graveyard, again, really strong. Atipus lets us OTK pretty easily. One Rafflesia in order to basically play around Nibiru if we have a really good start, which is funny enough. One Exiton because it's a rank 4 that we can wipe our opponent's board, and it's way cheaper than Zeus is. One Alumeris, double Pingakula, Alumeris being able to send a whole trap that meets its activation condition from your deck to the grave, and then basically, wait, no, that's, cut that part out. Alumeris being able to special summon an insect or plant monster from our graveyard, allowing us to keep extending potentially, and then also gives us beneficial effects if our opponent's monsters get defeated by our whole traps. Special summoning that card that gets destroyed from either graveyard or banishment, which is quite nice. Pingakula is really good at denying graveyards, being able to attach anything that would get put to a grave, attach it to itself. I don't know, attach Promethean Princess, you know, something like nice like that. We're on, and then for our Dogmatica stuff, we're on double Intis, one Garura, one Titaniclad that can special summon a Dogmatica from our deck at end phase, and one Grag Guganol because it can summon our Ecclesia from our deck if we choose to go Maximus instead of Ecclesia off of the Dogmatica stuff. And then lastly, for our side deck, we're on triple evenly matched. 2, the Black Goat Laughs, probably another one of the cards that we're spending the most money in our deck. This card being about $10 each. 1 Goes in Match, we can side out our Dogmatica stuff and everything else is an Earth, so Goes in Match plays really well. Triple Solemn Strike, a little bit better when we're going first. Triple Dimensional Shifter if we're going second. 2 Lightning Storm and a Duster if we're going second as well. That's going to be it for all of these profiles. This is a really, really long video, so if you guys still are watching, I really appreciate you guys. Please leave a like, subscribe, and follow. Leave a comment on which one of your decks is your favorite budget deck, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye. Thank y'all so much for watching the video. It really means a lot. If you want to talk to other Yu-Gi-Oh players in a competitive manner, please feel free to check out my Discord. We are still growing, but we would love to have you, and we plan to do some events sometime soon. You'll also be able to do cool stuff like vote on future videos and topics of videos, so swing by sometime and check us out. I also started a Patreon, so that'll be linked in the description of my videos from now on. Donating would mean a lot and would help in producing these videos. Right now, there's only one tier, being Tier 1 Femboy. This tier includes access to an exclusive Discord channel where you'll be able to talk amongst other femboys and have access to discussions with me as well as getting a shout out in every video following your patronage. Thank you so much for all your support.